All right. Let's talk a little bit of international politics here. So, in the first round of France's snap elections, which were called upon to happen by Emmanuel Macron, we have another example of the establishment plan just blowing up in their face. These are the results from the first round. So the National Rally, RN, and Allies, which is the Marine Le Pen party, formerly a National Front. I guess National Front sounded a little bit too, Third Reich for them, so they went with National Rally. New popular.
Yeah, they had to get rid of that
a bit on the
too.
nose. It's a bit on the nose, right? The New Popular Front, which is the Jean-Luc Mélenchon party, that is sort of like the Bernie type party, came in second with 27.9%, and then in third, a distant third, is Macron's centrist Ensemble party. So here is a friend of the show, End Wokeness, tweeted out here. The Le Pen supporters very happy about the results of the first round. So what happens in the French process is you have 2 rounds of voting to determine the final winner. So after the first round, can left centrist parties unite to block far-right win in French elections? This is from Al Jazeera. France is firmly in uncharted territory after President Emmanuel Macron's snap elections gamble backfired and saw the opposition far-right National Rally Party surge to a dramatic win in Sunday's parliamentary first-round polls, analysts say. Led by Marine Le Pen and her young protege, Jordan Bardella, the RN looks set to take the biggest chunk of the 577-seat lower house, having come away from the first round of voting with 33% of the vote, nearly double the 18.9% share it won in the last parliamentary elections in 2022. If its position in the polls does not shift in the crucial second round of voting on July 7th, this election could deliver the country's first far-right prime minister since World War II. Macron's centrist Ensemble coalition, meanwhile, trailed at a distant 20.3%, a devastating blow for the ruling alliance. The results are worse than the coalition's 26% in 2022. The RN's success is likely to see it gain a majority of seats in the parliament on Sunday, but analysts say it could fall short of the absolute majority it needs, with polls projecting it will take some 230 seats, not quite the 289 magic number. Macron's alliance is predicted to clinch only about 70 to 100 seats, while the left coalition, the New Popular Front, could take about 165 seats. Left and centrist party leaders are now scrambling to block the RN by negotiating a strategic alliance between traditionally opposed blocs. If they fail, analysts say President Macron could be forced to work with an opposition prime minister in a rare cohabitation alliance, one in which the president and prime minister are from different political parties. That could significantly diminish his powers and roll back his government's policies on a vast array of issues, including energy, the European Union, and France's support for Ukraine against Russia. As I understand, in that situation, the prime minister handles domestic policy and the president handles foreign policy, so I'm not sure how that would affect Ukraine unless there's a funding issue that is in the hands of the lower chamber. Left and center blocs are scrambling to realign themselves in hopes of stopping an absolute RN win in Sunday's runoff. Time pressure adds more uncertainty. Candidate lists must be ready by Tuesday evening. That's tonight. Experts say the election is next Sunday. We will be having kind of real-time results on our show on Sunday. Coalition leaders, including Macron, have called on voters to give not to give one more vote to the RN. Importantly, they have also called for an alliance between two traditionally opposing blocs to fight their common enemy. an exclusionary tactic referred to as the cordon sanitaire, which has been employed in several EU countries to hold extreme parties at bay and keep them out of government. Faced with the national rally, the time has come for a broad, unequivocally Democratic and Republican alliance for the second round, Macron said in a statement. The far right is at the gates of power, Prime Minister Gabriel Attal warned in a post on X. This strategy is easier said than done, experts say, as some groups are wary of collaboration. Now, where have we seen this kind of shit before? Give you a hint. Here. The coalition of left-wing parties, New Popular Front, has for its part reacted swiftly. Leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon has promised to withdraw any candidates who place third in the first round under all circumstances, so that the centrist candidate who ranked above his party's candidate will suck up those votes. So that means the votes of the left and center voters will be less likely to be divided on July 7th, as only the centrist candidates will remain on the ballots in those cases, meaning where the left party ranked third, although it remains unclear if voters will go for this strategy. Centrist parties, however, do not appear as enthusiastic and are wary of joining the left coalition led by Mélenchon, who is seen by some as a polarizing figure. What do we say? Scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds. Liberals will choose fascism over socialism every time. It's the centrists who are wary of cooperating. There's a number of conflicting positions, said Jacob Ross, a researcher with the German Council on Foreign Relations. Macron's party has followed the same logic, but others have said they do so only in areas where they support the center-left candidates, not in areas where extreme lefts are running. So where we have a very clear position in the left alliance, it is a lot less clear in the center. Oh, it's the centrists who are not cooperating. This is what's amazing about this, okay? So if we look at the 2022 French presidential election results, okay, you had in the first round, Macron up 27.8, Le Pen right on his tail, 23.15, and then Mélenchon at 21.95. So Mélenchon did not make the runoff because that's a runoff. And so you had Macron versus Le Pen in the final round. Now, they were shitting their pants at this point because Le Pen got so close to Macron in the first round. There was panic. Oh my God, is this the year Le Pen finally wins? Is this the year France finally becomes this hard right country? They go full bore. And turns out it wasn't. Mélenchon barely missed that cutoff for the runoff, which was a tragedy because he probably could have beat Macron one-on-one, but it was not to be. And in the second round, turns out that panic was for nothing. We actually covered this.
Which the punditocracy took great satisfaction in that result.
Yes.
You see, the people still love us. Rumors of the demise of the establishment have been greatly exaggerated.
Exactly. Macron 58, Le Pen 41. So in 2022, Le Pen gave them a scare by getting close to Macron in the first round and did not come close in the second round. This year is different for a couple reasons. One, the president themselves is not on the ballot. Two, Le Pen has a dominant lead in the first round of polling. Here, she scared the shit out of them just by coming within a few points. And third, turnout is way up this year. Turnout is 60% versus 39%. So given the fact that turnout is so much higher this year, it becomes very difficult.
It tends to favor insurgents.
It can favor insurgents. It also makes this prior modeling a little bit less reliable since now you're talking about a massive increase in turnout, 50%. As Macron fades and far-right surges, French left senses an opening. Yes, the left should sense an opening because here's the thing. Not only is Macron the loser, Macron is the spoiler. They're the spoiler because they're last. Usually it's the left-wing third party that gets chided. You're the spoiler. You get out so that we don't fall to fascism. Well, guess what? Guess who the spoiler is now? It's the centrists. That's how big a bath they took. And so, yes, obviously, big opportunity for the left to make this case. The collapse of support for French President Emmanuel Macron's centrist alliance in legislative elections on Sunday has ignited hope among the French left that it can recast itself as the primary competition to the rising far right in the country. An alliance of leftist parties, the New Popular Front, came in second in the election, garnering 28% behind the far-right National Rally, which won 33%. Macron's centrist alliance secured only 21% and is projected to lose more than half its assembly seats. As France now braces for a second round of voting Sunday that could bring a far-right government into power, the New Popular Front coalition has become the only alternative to National Rally, far-left leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon said on Sunday. But centrist critics say the leftist alliance is too divided and too extreme to be the far-right's primary opponent. It's the same conversation that we had in 2016. Yeah. Hey, the center's not going to hold this year, so it's either you go populist left or populist right. You choose. And we know how the centrists ended up choosing in this country. The balance of power in the lower house of parliament could have profound implications for France and Europe. France is entering a new political era now, and one that's going to be very different from what came before, said Mujaba Rahman, managing director for Europe at the Eurasia Group, a political risk consulting firm. While it's unclear whether any alliance or party can win a majority Sunday, Parliament is likely to be composed of a large far-right faction, a sizable leftist bloc, and a vastly diminished center. Go ahead.
Yeah. Also, part of this story, we'll see how it comes out on Sunday, is there's a very large youth vote for what are they called now? Not National Front anymore. I keep forgetting what they call themselves now. National Alliance.
The National Rally.
They have a lot of youth. The centrists, the neoliberal centrism, they stopped thinking of themselves as politicians. This Davos consensus has the arrogance of a religious movement. Not only a religious movement, but a religious movement dominated by an aristocratic outlook. They stopped seeing their job as being to serve the public. They shifted to seeing their job as being to direct and educate the public towards their own enlightened views and policies. And this is the result. Those views, those policies, those ideas are deeply unpopular, very out of touch with the popular will. It's very much like what's happening with entertainment, where they stopped thinking their job was to entertain, and they started thinking their job was to tell people what they should be entertained by and what they shouldn't be entertained by. This is the mentality of our elite class today. We've always had an elite class, but they've grown so completely disconnected from the concerns of the public they theoretically are supposed to serve that there is really no daylight between the outlook of an aristocracy that would see itself as benign and having the role of instructing the peasants and this supposedly democratic institutions. Thing is, you still do have voting in theory, and over time, they just completely lost the public trust, and this is the result. When they were all taking the 2022 results as a sign that no, the situation is not as dire. I mean, my reaction was yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a matter of time.
Why did Le Pen come even within that kind of distance from Macron? Your political project is collapsing, and because their governing philosophy does not in any way account for the need to serve the voters, their idea of serving the voters is religious. Well, what do you mean you don't want to go along with this? That's sinful. It's sin. Their arguments are about sin, not, well, this is going to make your life better. The argument is it's going to make you more moral. It's going to make you more virtuous. And that's part of why the people who go along with it are so insufferable. The way religious fanatics always are. That's what they sound like. And very much like religious fanaticism. A lot of these formulations just don't even make any logical sense, but you're told you're supposed to believe in them. And if you don't, you're evil.
Yeah, well, if you look at the swing, right? If you look at the swing last cycle, you have Macron at 27, Le Pen at 23, Mélenchon's out at 21. Le Pen still picked up 18 points on the second round.
Right.
She still picked up a decent amount.
Which means she picked up a decent amount of the left party. I keep saying, I said this when we did the piece on Ireland. The left needs to formulate a response to immigration beyond you're a bigot if you don't like it.
Well, of course. Well,
that is a big advantage for right-wing parties, that they're able to just say, yeah, it's taking money out of your pocket. We're going to put a stop to it. Their response to that cannot just be, if you feel like that, you're a racist.
Sure. But let's compare now. Sorry, wrong graphic. The first round in 2022 to the first round in 2024. So last time, first round, Macron 27, Le Pen 23, Mélenchon 22. If you look at the trends here, both the left and the right made significant gains, and the centrists made significant losses. Le Pen up 10 from her 2022 first round total. The left-wing party here up 6, and the centrists down 7. That's pretty drastic. And there's going to be some progress made on the second round. And so where does that leave you? Is this the year it happens? Now, you could say we've asked ourselves that question before and it hasn't happened. When you combine this momentum from 2 years ago plus the 50% increase in turnout, which is just massive and seismic, that makes it unpredictable to begin with. I mean, it is possible. Now, this is not a presidential race, so Macron's not going to be unseated, but he could have to cede major power to this right-wing party. And Le Pen does plan, from everything I've been reading, to run for president again. In what is it? Is it 25 or 27? I forget how long their terms are. But she wants to run 27. Yeah, so she wants to run the next time.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, Sunday, there wasn't enough time for me to really dig into this. There's like a viral song. They had to ban it from TikTok that's going around as part of this movement and momentum. This is what's really interesting. It seems like it's going viral among youth. And that is really because our idea of parties like this is they attract the old who are stuck in their ways. When you start getting the youth en masse in France swinging right, that's how you really get a right-wing takeover of a country, because you've already got a lot of the old people. If you can get the young people, well, now you've really got a functioning majority, perhaps for the foreseeable future once you cross a certain threshold.
Absolutely. Yes. And we will be following the results of the second round on Sunday. They should be in by the time we start the show. Since, France, they have this thing where they can count the votes very, very quickly. It seems like most countries that call themselves democracies are able to count votes within, a few hours. It takes us about a week. God bless America.
Please clap.